Here's how I built a 200,000 block castle in Minecraft. This one took so long to create, I had to reintroduce myself to my wife and child after I was finished. I didn't want just a plain medieval castle. I've been watching Game of Thrones again, and I was inspired by Highgarden with the lush, flowery landscapes. So this one is called Tyrell Castle, and you will see exactly why later on. Starting with the gatehouse, I decided to go for a more square, multi-tower design with the classic square tower on the bottom and a smaller rounded one poking out the top, and finished off with a simple spruce pointed roof. I made the walls 2 blocks thick, allowing me to punch out some additional depth and details. Next up is what I like to think was the very first structure the creator of this castle built before the rest of the castle was built around it. This is the watchtower, and it's the only one with a wooden frame top, just to add a little bit of difference. For the walls, I've kept them very similar throughout the build, going for a strong fortified feel, and added some depth by carving out some blocks to add the supporting beams. Now we have a lot of towers to get through before we get to the massive keep, all of them with slightly different designs and heights, and of course walls connecting each of them to form this beast of a defensive wall. Now the exterior walls are done, we have this interior tower and a big, long, straight wall connecting the tower to the exterior walls on the outside. This creates this sort of entrance courtyard as you enter the castle, which of course I will show you fully decorated later on. There are 2 archways inside the walls leading to the main grounds of the castles where the giant keep will be. Here we have the final tower, which sits towards the middle of the main grounds. There are 2 bridges either side of this tower. One will connect to the keep, and one connects to the exterior walls. I like doing this in castles as it adds just another way to navigate the castle. And now we're building the keep. This is composed of 4 smaller skinny towers on each corner, a big box-shaped build in the middle, and then we work our way up to another level, which is just a smaller box-shaped building on top. I didn't want to overcomplicate this like with some of my previous castles, as the main standout feature of the entire build are the gardens and the decorations that you'll see later. If you'd like to build this in your own Minecraft world, in my description you can find the link to Patreon, which has the Lightmatica schematic, the 3D build guide, and the Java and Bedrock world downloads. And the final part of the actual keep is this sort of temple looking build right at the top. I wanted a spot where you can view your entire world with no restrictions, and this fitted the bill. Now that the actual castle build is completed, we can get onto the magical part, which is the gardens. I started in the entrance courtyard area and wanted everything to be curved and welcoming. On the right side we have this hedge with some small skinny trees and lots of flowers, and right in the middle is this grand quartz fountain, and surrounding the fountain are some little benches. Sticking with the entrance courtyard, we have a section with a big custom oak tree, and you guessed it, more flowers and benches. Next door to that is this little section with a couple of these statues with the same colour palette as the castle walls. I did watch a tutorial on how to build these, but so many people people have made tutorials on these that I have no idea who was the actual creator of these, so unfortunately I can't give any credit. We have one more section with another big oak tree surrounded by benches and some plant pots. And then to finish off the courtyard, another fountain in the corner with another tree and some flowers. I did make sure that each and every tower had a door that leads into it, with the pathway leading up to that tower too. Okay, now we're working in the main castle grounds. I decided to go for a grid style pattern for something a little bit different. We start with this old ruined temple looking area, maybe where the people who built this castle worship their god. And then I decided to build this maze. Lots of castles and stately homes in the UK have these sorts of areas in the gardens or grounds, and it's nice and relaxing to have a little stroll. You can see for a lot of the borders of these sections I've used azalea and flowering azalea. I tried to use different types of leaves for the hedges, but azalea works incredibly well for that manicured hedge look. This part I'm really happy with. It's a gazebo type build with these symmetrical gardens either side, and right in the middle is this cute looking copper golem. I like to think that he's the mascot of the castle. Now the family who lives here needs to eat, so I decided to build this little orchard with a couple of apple trees, some wheelbarrows and some flower planters. Surrounding this big tower in the middle are just some flower patches, and then behind this is the vegetable garden. It has these big box planters filled with different types of crops, surrounded by another hedge, and in the middle are these two big trees using azalea leaves to add a bit of variety. I realised there wasn't anywhere yet to sit and relax, so I built this tiny little park with a few benches where you can rest your feet after a long day of doing nothing. The castle needed some type of body of water, so I made this teeny tiny pond right here in the corner. And next to this is the outdoor dinner party area. I made the table out of azalea with some cherry wood down the middle, and this ended up being a very cozy area in the castle. Now what isn't cozy is a graveyard. I built this statue of a king sitting in a chair, and this one was designed by Satiscraft, but I switched out some of the blocks to fit in with the rest of the castle. The graveyard has lots of tombs and gravestones for the important people that lived and passed away in this castle. Going back towards the entrance, I felt like we needed some type of military presence, so I built this archery shooting range using target blocks for the targets and a little shed to store the bows and arrows. Next up, we have a few of these big villager statues, and what I had in mind for this was these would be the original creators of the castle, the builders, the designers, and I wanted somewhere to have a sort of shrine where you can pay your respects as you walk on your way. Now, what do royal people like to drink? Well, it's not water, so I added this giant vineyard where the residents have an endless supply of the red liquid they call wine. And now we're working around the actual keep. I wanted to keep the entrance to the castle's keep nice and simple, so I added these symmetrical flowery gardens to provide a nice welcome when you're entering the keep. Working our way to the right, we have an apiary, so they can put honey on their morning cereal. And beyond that is just another little section with some trees and flowers. I didn't want every single section of the castle grounds to be unique or something different. Some parts can just look nice and colourful. And now we have the final section. I've got no idea what to call this part, but it's sort of another shrine where there are these amethyst crystals on display, with a big one at the front and some smaller ones at the back. Maybe in this realm there's some magic that the rest of the world has not yet discovered. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget, if you want to build it yourself, check out the Patreon link in my description, and I'll see you in the next one.